and I call the member for Wills.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I can't really think of any issue more pressing to all Australians right now than cost of living and housing affordability. For years in opposition, across my electorate, people shared their aspirations for a good, quality, affordable housing, which was becoming more and more out of reach. And that was a story that was reflected across Australia, and it's not a new story. And frankly, it was a problem that deepened and festered and got worse through 10 years of inaction by the previous coalition government. And it's an issue that the Albanese Labor government, in our first 2 years, we have been working every day to fix, every day. As median weekly rents continue to rise, private rentals are becoming increasingly unaffordable for many across Australia, let alone our most vulnerable. More than 45,000 rental listings across the country were recently examined by Anglicare, and the report found that just 0.6% were considered affordable for a person earning a full-time minimum wage. Only 0.2% were affordable for people on the aged pension and 0.1% for people on the disability support pension. None were affordable for someone on youth allowance. These are unacceptable statistics. For a decade, the Coalition, when they were in government, when they sat on the Treasury benches, they allowed this issue of housing supply and affordability to fester. They ignored the pleas of Australians for help, and the Albanese Labor government is actually answering that call to action in the 2 years since we got elected. Why? Because fundamentally and philosophically, we are very different ideologically from those on the other side. Because for us, safe, affordable and secure housing is a fundamental human right. It's fundamentally the foundational aspect for building a better life, for building a good life. It's not just about the economics and the commercial value of property. It's a fundamental human right. It's the base from which people can realise their full potential. And that's an issue very close to my heart because I grew up in a housing commission, like the Prime Minister and the Minister for Housing. We're housos. I understood, and my family, a migrant family, understood how important having that roof over our heads was when we were starting out, obviously in Australia, and trying to build a new life. So my message today is very simple, Deputy Speaker. Whether you're looking to rent, whether you're looking to buy, this government, the Labor government, the Albanese government, is here to support you. So since coming into government, housing has been front of mind. It's been front and centre in terms of our efforts on affordability and supply. We have taken massive steps to rebalance the scale that had been unbalanced for such a long time. And as part of this debate, everyone, well, almost everyone, understands that increasing supply is the main issue. Because Australia doesn't have enough homes, and we haven't for a while. So our priority is simple: to build more homes for more Australians. And we need to do this faster while also providing immediate support for Australians that are currently in need. That's why the Labor government has an ambitious national target of building 1.2 million homes by the end of the decade. Now, this is, of course, a big challenge, but it is a challenge we must meet in order to fix what is a long-term problem. So our recent budget that was just passed added $6.2 billion in new investment to build more of those new homes, more quickly, bringing the total commitment of the Labor government, the Albanese government, to new housing initiatives to $32 billion, just in the space of 2 years. Now, we're about supporting the build of new homes by growing our construction workforce as well. It's not just about the investment. There is a lot of different elements to this. $1.5 billion has been provided to the states and territories for housing infrastructure works and more social housing. And there's been a direct support through this funding for tens of thousands of new social and affordable housing through our significant investments, including the Housing Australia Future Fund. By the way, a fund which was delayed by those opposite and by the minor party in the Greens political party for months, which could have started building more houses if it was passed. But they decided to play politics with it. This year's budget also is helping around 1 million Australians households with the cost of rent by delivering $1.9 billion over 5 years to increase Commonwealth rent assistance by a further 10%. That's on top of the 15% that we announced, the increase that we announced back in September 2023. Again, this is meant to provide real support, cost of living support for Australians in need today and now. So this is the first back-to-back increase in Commonwealth rent assistance in more than 30 years. Now, this bill, Deputy Speaker, to support these ongoing efforts, we're also introducing this Capital Works build-to-rent misuse tax bill, because this legislation actually incentivises investments in the build-to-rent sector, which will help expand housing supply in Australia. Build-to-rent housing is multi-unit, purpose-built rental housing where the units, instead of being sold off, are rented out through a single management entity. And as part of this bill, at least 10% of homes in these new developments must be rented out affordably, helping to deliver more long-term affordable rental homes for more Australians. This means rent needs to be set at 74.9% or less than the market rent of a comparable home in the same project. So, most importantly, who is eligible for these affordable homes? It applies to tenants whose household income is under the required income limits, set according to household composition. The quality of these homes won't be impacted. The bill has provisions in place to ensure affordable homes and non-affordable homes are of equal quality. These measures apply from 1st of July this year, 2024, and eligible projects must have commenced construction after the 9th of May 2023. It's a practice that has been done in the US, in the UK, as a way to increase affordable housing supply in the places people want to live, not 2 or 3 hours away from their place of work because they can't afford to live near the hospital that they work at as a nurse, or near the medical clinic that they work at as a nurse, or the kindergarten that they work at as a teacher, an early education teacher.
A division has been called for in the House